Your team writes one campaign brief. Creative builds the asset. The team chops it for LinkedIn, chops it for TikTok, chops it for YouTube. And 5 versions go live across 5 platforms. Every single platform underperforms. The LinkedIn post reads like a TikTok script. The TikTok looks like a webinar clip. The YouTube short is just the long video chopped shorter. The numbers come in flat and nobody can say why. Hi, I'm Asher, and you're listening to Content is Currency. Over the next 8 minutes, I'm going to show you why one brief almost never produces native work on 5 platforms, and the 3-block brief format that gets each platform its best version in a single pass. Quick note before we start. This is a brief format, not a content strategy. Let's go. Here is what is happening when you write one brief for 5 platforms. You are writing for the lowest common denominator, and every platform's algorithm punishes you for it. LinkedIn rewards an argument with a sharp first line and a long form follow. TikTok rewards a visual hook in the first second and a payoff before the 8th. YouTube rewards a thumbnail-shaped opening that survives a 6-minute watch session. Reels reward dwell. Shorts reward retention curves. These platforms are not asking for the same thing. When you brief one piece of work, you are silently asking the creative team to produce a 5th best version of all 5. The team is not lazy. The brief is incomplete. Every platform native trained its audience to expect a specific shape, and your brief did not specify the shape. Picture a translator who only writes in one language. The brief comes in, and the translator produces beautiful English prose. Then the company says, send this to Tokyo, Sao Paulo, Berlin, Cairo, and Mumbai. So the translator hands the same English text to 5 interpreters in 5 rooms, and the interpreters translate it on the fly. Tokyo gets a literal Japanese rendering that misses the joke. Sao Paulo gets a stiff Portuguese that loses the warmth. Berlin gets a polite German that softened the punch. Every market gets an interpretation, but no market gets the version a native writer would have produced. The interpreters are not bad at their jobs. The source was not written with their audience in mind. A great translator writes for the destination, not for the origin. A great brief writes for the platform, not for the deck. Why does every enterprise team end up with one generic brief for 5 platforms? 3 reasons, all of them ordinary. 1, the brief template is built around the campaign, not around the platforms. It captures audience, message, and creative direction, but the platform shape sits in a footer somewhere as a list of channels. 2, the people who actually understand how each platform behaves, the editors and operators who post every day, are usually downstream of the brief, not co-authors of it. They get the brief, then improvise. 3, the team is rewarded for producing more, not for producing native. Producing 5 versions across 5 platforms gets the campaign past procurement. Producing 5 native versions costs more time and lands on the same calendar. The system rewards volume. Nobody, anywhere, is paid to make sure the brief produced native work on the first pass. Here is the system. It is one brief, but the brief has 3 blocks. Block 1 is the spine. One short paragraph that holds the idea, the audience, the proof, and the call to action. This part does not change across platforms. Block 2 is the platform verb layer. For every platform you are targeting, you name the one verb that platform's algorithm pays for. TikTok pays for show. LinkedIn pays for argue. YouTube pays for explain. Reels pay for dwell. Each platform gets one verb in the brief, and the creative writes against that verb. Block 3 is the per platform native spec. Each platform gets a short block of its own, with the hook, the format, the length, and the visual rule. 3 blocks, 1 brief, 1 pass through creative. The output is 5 native versions, not 5 chopped ones. Block 1 is the spine, and this is the part that does not change. Open with the idea. 1 sentence. What is the thing we are saying? Full stop. Then the audience. Who specifically? Not enterprise marketers, but heads of brand at mid-market SaaS companies who have just been given a content team and an unrealistic Q3 number. Then the proof. The one fact, the one statistic, the one story that makes the idea land. Then the call to action. What do we want them to do and where do we want them to do it? The spine is platform agnostic on purpose. If the idea collapses without the platform's format, you do not have an idea, you have a format. The discipline of block 1 is to write something that holds up read aloud in a room with no screen. If it works there, it will work everywhere. Block 2 is the part nobody else writes, and it is the part that decides whether the work is native. Every platform pays for a different verb. TikTok pays for show. The algorithm watches whether you can visually deliver the payoff in under 8 seconds. LinkedIn pays for argue. The feed rewards a sharp first line that takes a position, followed by the case. YouTube pays for explain. The watch time engine rewards a clear thesis and a satisfying mid-roll. Instagram Reels pays for dwell. The system rewards loops, layered text, and a reason to rewatch. Shorts pay for retention. The retention curve decides whether the algorithm gives you the next view. List the platforms you are targeting. Write 1 verb per platform inside the brief, and now the creative team has an instruction for shape, not just for content. The verb is the brief in 1 word. Block 3 is the per platform native spec. For every platform in the brief, write 4 short lines. Line 1, the hook style. What does the first second look like or read like on that platform? Line 2, the format. Vertical or horizontal, length cap, captions on or off. Line 3, the cut style. Hard cuts, slow build, B-roll heavy, talking head, layered text. Line 4, the visual rule. The one thing this platform's audience expects to see in the first frame, on the thumbnail, or in the first line. 4 lines per platform. If you are running 3 platforms, that is 12 lines added to the brief. 12 lines is not expensive. It is the difference between a creative team that improvises 5 times and a creative team that produces 5 native pieces in 1 pass, on the first attempt, and then ships. You can put this in place in 1 week. Day 1, pull your current campaign brief template and add 3 new sections at the top: spine, platform verbs, native specs. Day 2, write the verbs document. 1 verb per platform, written by the editor who actually posts on it. Pin it to the wall. Day 3, write the native specs for each platform. 4 lines each, written by the same editor. Day 4, rewrite your next live brief in the new format and walk it past creative before the work starts. Day 5, run the campaign through the new brief end to end and compare the work that comes back to the work you have been getting. The difference shows up in the first review. The brief gets harder to write and easier to ship from. Now go write it. I'm Asher. This was Content is Currency from Table 8. We'll see you next episode.